is going to benefit most from artificial intelligence? The boomers with more life experience, or the Generation Z who's more familiar with technology, or maybe someone in between? In this video, we're going to look at who can benefit most from the use of AI as it relates to sales. When we look at the different demographics, everybody is selling something. We have to sell ourselves, we have to sell our ideas. But when we look at the demographics, how we go about selling, regardless of our demographic, can be significantly enhanced with AI. Let's learn. Who will benefit more from AI? Boomers or Generation Z? Let's take a look and see what we can learn from that. Here's the workforce projection for 2025 from the Department of Labor, and it shows that the blues here are the millennials, grays are Generation X, red are the Generation Z, and green are the boomers. There's an emerging generation now coming into the workforce, the Gen Zs. So between the boomers on one end and the Gen Zs on the other, how will all of us benefit or not benefit from AI? Well, it depends. It depends on how you want to use it, the industry that you're in, and primarily your choice, how you choose to use AI. When we talk about these different demographics, there's chronological age and there's developmental age, and we're primarily looking at developmental age here. You see, there are people who have 10 years of experience, and there are other people who have 1 year of experience 10 times over. So how far have you developed? How far have you advanced? And how is artificial intelligence going to help you? Using the power of three, and one of the graphics from the power of three, in this case a bell curve, we can break people into three different categories. In the center of the bell curve is the critical mass, and on the outside ends are the outliers. If you'd like more information on this, there's a course at chuckreaves.online. In the center, let's say we have the Generation Z, the typical Generation Z, the more prominent Generation Z. And these are people who collaborate easily. They use technology easily. They work together. The outliers in Generation Z would be the party fun people and some very advanced, promising leaders coming up in the workforce. When we look at the boomers, when we think of boomers, primarily they're retired or semi-retired. They're spending a lot of time playing golf. They're enjoying the fruits of their labors. But there's also the ones that are afraid of technology and the other ones who are starting new technology companies. It's that extreme. So let's look at the two different categories, the Gen Zs, and their attitude is, look out world, here we come, and the boomers, who think, you know what, I've already made and corrected a lot of mistakes. I bring a lot of value to the table. Do Generation Zs bring more future to the table? Maybe. Do boomers bring more experience to the table? Probably. So when we compare these two, Generation Z is comfortable with technology, much more comfortable than boomers are, simply because they grew up with it. Boomers have varying degrees, varying levels of comfort with different technologies. For Generation Z, their education is recent, so it's more up-to-date, it's more current, and it's important that boomers continue their education. Once we stop learning, we stop performing. And staying ahead these days, keeping up with information, is difficult because there's so much. However, the other side of that coin is there's a lot of places we can learn, places like YouTube. Generation Z tends to have specialized experience, and that is limited experience in one area. It may be very deep, it may be advanced, but it's specialized in a few areas or one area. Whereas most boomers have had a broader experiential life, so they've seen a lot of different ways of doing business. Right now, Generation Z can adapt faster than boomers, but Boomers tend to make a more effective adaptation because they study it, they look at it more. So here's the principle. We're going to be using wisdom. Wisdom is the combination of education, experience, and perspective. Education, experience, and perspective. That's Chuckism number 57. So if we want to have wisdom and use it, what do we need to do? Look at your education. Education is everything that you have learned formally and informally. So it's every class you took, every seminar you've attended, and also what you've picked up pretty much every day. Experience is any event in your life that impacts the way that you think. Any event in your life that impacts the way that you think. Perspective is our outlook on life. Are we optimistic, pessimistic? Is the glass half full or half empty? And when we combine these where they all overlap, that's where wisdom resides. So what can we do to improve it? Well, if you're short on experience, you can make up for it in education. And conversely, if you're short on education, you can make up for it with experience. However, if you lack perspective, anyone who lacks that positive outlook, all the education and experience in the world is probably not going to take them forward. Perspective is willingness to learn, embracing change, and being motivated to move forward. So let's look at these three for a moment. What if education and experience came closer together? We kept growing in our education and growing in our experience, and at the same time, we applied all that we are learning to our perspective. What would happen to our wisdom then? It would be significantly higher than it was before. This is where people have the greatest wisdom. They're nurturing their education, nurturing their experience. So we look at the Boomer and the Gen Z, and the combination of those two can make for a very smart organization. So how can artificial intelligence help? For the Gen Zs and the Boomers, the desired outcome is critical. What do they desire as an outcome? If you're a Generation Z, what do you really want to accomplish now? That may change in the future, but what are you focusing on? Focus your inquiries on your responsibilities. What are you trying to accomplish right now? What responsibilities have you been given? And what responsibilities would you like to take on? Focus your inquiries on that as you meet people, as you learn, as you study. When you focus, you do things like asking questions, what does this entity do? Or how is it done best? Or what problems and obstacles do those people have or those industries have? And then look at your role going forward. What do you want to be doing going forward? Then you can create your message. You can create your plan. For Boomers, also, you'll want to understand your desired outcome. What are you trying to achieve? And then better understand the available technologies and processes. They're both changing. They're both growing. So what works best for you? Capitalize on that. You can create another process, create a new process based on your education and experience. Then you can create your message format. How you create a message using AI will be different from the way a Generation Z creates their message. Just have a format, have a formula. Then once you've created your message, continue to edit it. There are three primary components of artificial intelligence. Using AI, you'll typically use some kind of technology. You're looking for content, and you want to be able to deliver that content in some situation. Maybe you're looking at a proposal or a sale. Maybe you're looking at a promotion. Maybe you're looking at teaching someone. So who has the edge in technology when we look at both the Generation Z and the Boomer? Well, the technology advantage typically goes to the Generation Z. As we've said before, they grew up with it. They're more comfortable with it. What about content? That's going to go to the Boomer because they have more experience, a broader level of experience, many different ways of doing things. And then what about delivery? I think it's even. I think it's a tie. So regardless of who you are and where you're going, AI can help you. As long as you continue to grow and embrace the technology, use that to create more and more content that you can draw from, and then deliver it in a way that people want to hear and want to learn.